welcome to this Halo Flashpoint thing. We're talking about Halo Flashpoint coming from Mantic Games. I'm joined here with Drew, Matt, and Josh, and they all got to go to Adepticon and check out the demo that they were putting on. I did not, so I'm going to play uninformed audience member while these three esteemed gentlemen help me learn about this game, because we all like Halo a lot. So I'm hoping that this gives us a good Halo feel and a tabletop experience. Yeah. So tell me about it. You guys want to explain what's coming out and when?
It's definitely going to give a good Halo feel. I think it's just going to be, there's two types of Halo, right? There's PvP and there's campaign, and it provides one of those incredibly well. Matt, did you have the dates wrote down? But I know Gen Con is the first product release.
Yes, they said at Adepticon they will be shipping in October, but there will be some product at Gen Con that they'll have available.
Yeah, and I believe anybody who pre-ordered can redeem product pickups at Adepticon.
Yes, I think that is right. And there's two products that are going to be available. One is a Spartan box that has like 16 Spartans for elites. I think if you ordered early enough, there's a Master Chief promo with the sword. He looks pretty cool.
Yeah, for anybody listening, that is over now, though. That pre-order.
Oh, they already got all this?
Yeah,
I think as
of... no.
Yeah, it closed on I believe March 27th.
I'm not surprised. It was like 10,000 or something of them, or what was it?
Yeah. That Master Chief is available in the paint kit, though.
Oh, okay.
But that paint kit costs $50.
There's a Army Painter paint kit that comes with it, with the Master Chief. There's also a separate hard plastic terrain deal. They're selling more dice. I guess they had a lot of pre-orders, kind of more than they thought initially. So that's
talking to some of the people at the booth and some of the Mantic individuals. And maybe I should preface this a little bit. I'm a big Mantic guy. I've been playing their Kings of War game since like 2018. So Mantic's one of my favorite companies. I think they do a really good job at just sponsoring and cultivating games. They feel a little more honest than a lot of other game companies out there. I won't point any fingers at anybody, but they genuinely feel like they are part of the hobby. From talking to some people, they mentioned that like the pre-order sales for Halo were higher than anything they've ever done. So
I mean, the price point isn't bad, so I'm kind of not
amazing
surprised.
Price point. I think it's $125 for the
big box, and it's like $75 for the small one, which I don't even think we mentioned, the Recon box.
The one thing that really, like, the paint kit's probably the most disparaging price thing to me. $50 is a lot for a paint kit. And then also the Master Chief model only came if you bought both of the boxes. So you're spending $200 to get the exclusive Master Chief.
I thought it was just to order one of them. Okay, I didn't even look at that.
I went through the cart process just to see if I could buy something small to get Chief, and it made me add both boxes to add that promo.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, I think I got it. I put the big box in the cart. It was like Master Chief zero.
I also could have been dumb and not did it right.
I may or may not be happy here in October then, because I'm expecting.
Because I will say, and I thought about finagling it a little bit. I did remove one of the objects out of my cart, and it kept Chief in there.
Okay.
And so I was almost tempted to go through the cart with 0 things in it.
And
see if they'd
just get a Chief chip.
Why are we seeing this one guy, random guy, just a Master Chief model?
Why not, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a POS system, right? I mean, it's going to have its quirks, so who knows?
And I'm glad they're not locking you out of Chief for not
you can buy
getting the pre-order.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I would be a sad boy. Because I did ask Matt, hey, how long are they doing these pre-orders for Master Chief? And I did not get a response. So
they made it sound like it was all pre-orders till the end of April is what my guy said.
They're doing pre-orders still. They're still doing pre-orders.
My guy made it sound like everyone who ordered till the end of April, and then I saw the number of Chiefs.
They got way more than they were expecting.
Yeah.
I bet that was a lot of it too, Randy.
They were like, we have this many, we'll be fine.
I mean, they can Chinese cast 1 million Spartan models, but they probably have a limited number of Chiefs available. You're probably all right with that.
And I guess to get back, the Recon, the $75 pack is, I think, 8 Spartan minis. I think there's less terrain, but I think there's like a foldable mat. And then there's
the board is different. The guy said that in the big box it's cardboard, and in the little box it's like a poster essentially. So
Okay.
that's it.
And they've got terrain, and I guess we'll kind of get into the type of terrain based on kind of the system, but it's pretty kind of blocky, rectangle-y, kind of grid-like because it's kind of how the game system works. And I guess
It's a very unique game system, that's for
yeah,
sure.
it's kind of weird, and they really sold it to me in my demo at least as like, movement and cover are going to be very straightforward to where it's like, so you're not wasting time on it, so you can spend your time playing the
It's the
rest of the
terrain
game.
in your square, move to that, you're done.
Yep. So
do you want to give a overview of kind of how your demo went, Matt?
Yeah, so I was there and this is my wonderful camera work. I'm not a cameraman, I'm sorry. I was there on Saturday. Me and my friend were one of the first people through the door when the vendor hall opened up. So that'd be like at 10 a.m. on Saturday. So we were the first people for the demo. And it was people were kind of coming in. So it was kind of hectic. But pretty much it was a 2v2. Me and my buddy, we both had 2 Spartans. And we had they explain, 3 dice base
Pause
for
it
everything.
real quick. And rewind. It's like 10
Enhance.
seconds.
Well, there's a button there for that.
Do the 10-second button. Oh my gosh. No, play it. No, what are you doing? Oh my gosh. Play the video. Get ready to pause the video. I can't wait to waste 5 minutes on y'all's podcast to point something out. Hang on. We're almost there. All right. Pause it right now. That blue giant over there is mine.
Yeah.
The top right case.
I didn't know if that for sure was where you were going, but yes, Drew got some of his stuff in the display, and we were looking at this. Actually, I was looking at these models and I was taking pictures and stuff, and Aaron's like, or someone was like, "That's Drew's giant." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "I'd know that giant anywhere. That's Drew's Kings of War giant."
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was
that's
like,
awesome.
"How did it get in there?" And he's like, "I guess he just handed it to him." Was like, "Hey, look at that." So.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome.
I don't know how we're going to cut back in. Drew really just took us in the bushes here.
I already have a segue. For any of you guys that are seeing this video there, because I'm hoping you get a good zoom in on these Spartans that are coming up. So James Wapple, who's a pretty notable painter in the hobby world, did their field work. And what I mean by field work, like any of the stuff they take to cons and they demo with and display, he did all that stuff, which is really freaking cool. And then Angel Heraldez, who is a longtime painter from Spain, he's doing all their box art stuff. So they've got a really good. This is something that any of the Mantic fans that might be out there. Mantic used to have just dreadful paint jobs. I hated Mantic's models, and even if it was a good model, you wouldn't know it because they melted like a crown on top of it to paint it. Like I don't know what they were doing, but yeah, the display work on these is just 10 times what it used to be. And they're doing a lot better of a job, I think, promoting this game through the artists that they're picking to show it off. Did you get a good zoom in on it at all?
I've got some pictures in there. I don't want to make Randy scramble too much, but I did have some stuff.
Oh, is Randy controlling the video?
Randy's driving the car. Yes.
Oh man,
I am driving the car.
But so pretty much, I guess to get back to the
the demo.
The demo, it was like they were like, hey. If you do something, it's 3 dice base, and then we add to that based on
what kind of dice were they?
D8s. It's a D8 system. There were 2 D6s we rolled, and I think that was 1 D6 per guy, and those were command dice. And they had some effects. We didn't use all the effects because he said some of them weren't balanced for 2v2, but it was stuff like add extra die, move extra space, attack twice, whatever.
Yeah.
And so pretty much there was a sword in the middle, and it ended up we both sprinted for the sword, and my buddy got it first, and he hit me with it. And then the Ronnie had me run my other guy in to try to beat the guy with the sword up and take the sword, but it didn't quite work out. And so I ended up in 2 turns, I had already lost both my guys.
It's very quick. And what you're kind of describing goes back to what I was saying a little bit when Randy was like, how did it play? It plays very much like the PvP Slayer, Oddball style Halo experience. It's very geared towards that PvP play style from what we've seen so far, where there's items around the map and stuff. So you mentioned there was a sword in the middle. I'm guessing that they're going to have, more items around the map.
I had the gravity hammer at the center of mine.
Yeah, I had the gravity hammer with mine as well. Was there anything else that kind of stood out to you, Matt? Because you played a little bit of Halo, right?
Yeah, I've played some Halo, so it felt kind of like multiplayer. The respawn thing, they were talking about how quick everything was.
Oh, did they talk about the respawn with you? They gave me nothing.
Well, they killed my guy, and they're like, "Oh, he's dead." And they're like, "Oh no, wait, he just comes back at the beginning of next turn or whatever."
Turn.
And they all, I mean, the cards. So each, it looks like, I think in the 16 pack you'd get basically everything, but each card had like a different weapon configuration. And so I think they're kind of doing that instead of having minis you can customize. They're just making an iteration of like every weapon.
Close combat guys, long range guys.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem
in the
like
demo
it's
you had a sniper guy and a punching guy, basically.
Yeah.
So was the demo just 2v2, but the game will be 4v4?
The game can be whatever size you want, they technically
the game is going to be, from what I asked about, I was like, hey, what's the points system? How does list building work? I mean, it's very much like old Age of Sigmar 1, where you just bring both of your collections and agree on a model count. And that's how they're gearing the game right now, is there's no points. There is just, cool, we keep putting down minis until we decide we don't want to put any more minis down. Now, I'm assuming, obviously, like, in a more structured tournament format, it would be something like 8v8 or whatever. The other thing, too, is it's a 2x2 board. It does not really allow, this is the one thing that, I don't want to get too off into the negatives and stuff, but that's the one thing that does take away from that PvP experience it's trying to replicate. Halo's maps were never small.
Yeah, there were only a couple that were like that.
Battle Creek and Lockouts.
Right.
And
I still wouldn't consider them small.
No.
I would consider them normal. And this
They're not
board
like
being
Rust and Call of Duty or something.
Right. This 2x2 board is very small. I could not see myself really enjoying more than a 4v4.
Yeah.
So it would get cramped.
To that, do you think it would be that hard to just put a few maps next to each other and make it
it wouldn't be hard at all.
A 4x4?
I think that's where the game
is going.
Probably end up, and it's where it should have started. I think the big fear for me as a consumer, and for somebody who's not like I don't, you guys know me, but the viewers don't. I play anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's a war game that's got 40k size or if it's all the way down to kill team skirmish. I'll play anything. The board size doesn't bother me. The model count doesn't bother me. It's how well it works on that board size, how well it works with that model count. And I just don't think it jives well for what it's trying to do on such a small of a board. It's trying very hard to replicate an experience that it can't on this size of a board. And a lot of people are hoping that they just make this into like a Legion size game, a platoon game, or they grow it to be a 4x4 board or whatever. And the thing is, it's like they got the licensing, for the game, and they're not using a lot of the aspects from like the campaign side of it, which, we go back to that campaign versus PvP. They're diving really hard into the PvP side of it, and I just don't think they're getting a full grasp of what that means.
Because the theme they seem to really be going for is this is like a Spartan training ground, at least in these starting ones, because it's all very kind of like generic UNSC terrain.
Yep.
There's not like anything weird or Covenant, so it's very much like this is Spartan training grounds, and then presumably they'll come out with more theme stuff later.
Very square.
Yeah.
And part of that is a byproduct of the movement system.
Yeah.
Which is they called it the cube, I believe, system. And and another thing, I guess, I've not played the game. I don't know much about it. I've been looking into it more because of this game. But I guess it's very close to Dead Zone, this game. Almost not quite one for one, but there's a lot of carryover, like movement system, shooting system, kind of
the D8s.
Yeah, D8s. Yeah. Most of the stats on the cards, I think there are some stats that are in Dead Zone that aren't in this. But
Dead
most
Zone
of the stuff
is Mantic's skirmish game for those
Mantic's
that
like Infinity almost, or Kill Team,
And my understanding and stuff I've seen is that they were trying to kind of cast a wide net with this and get a lot of people into it and then kind of build up, because they talked about in the next wave how they might add models that would maybe add in points, because they wouldn't necessarily be balancing. Right now it's just mini for mini. And then I think as they go on, they'll do points, and there'll be more factions they said they're going to add in.
Yeah, I mean, Master Chief is the first model, I mean, that I heard him talking about. They're like, well, as soon as we have Master Chief in the game, we really need to start looking towards points.
And my guy mentioned that Master Chief is worth 2 Spartans if you're building together right now. Okay, that's sort of a system, I guess. But
yeah, it's kind of just do points because that's kind of.
He said if you're building your group, you have to take 2 Spartans out to bring Master Chief in. And I was like, okay,
right. Sure.
We'll see. I think for now their intended is like 4v4. I think that's kind of what they're thinking for the size. I could see it getting bigger. They talked about how the Banished would be the first thing they would be adding, but they said they could. This was from another YouTube channel. Did an interview with Ronnie kind of during their demo. It was Family of Gamers 777 YouTube channel, and Ronnie said there was comfortably room for 5 factions. So I was trying to think in my head what that would be. So
UNSC, Covenant, Banished.
So Covenant and Banished would be 2 separate factions.
Then. I think
so. And then Prometheans.
Forerunners. Yeah.
Okay. So that could be interesting.
Because Banished falls into the Heretic box too that you could check from Halo 2 and stuff as well. So I mean, because that's essentially what the Banished are, just the heretics.
So I'd be interested. It's kind of got me with the. I have pre-ordered the big box, so I just wanted to see more about the elites, because I think that's going to be really kind of for me.
Yeah, do they operate differently?
Like how the game's going to go? Like if they feel, I don't want them to feel just like Spartans.
If they're just a Spartan reskin, right.
Because and that was kind of my concern was if we're doing multiplayer, there's been games where you can be an elite and you wouldn't necessarily want to because the hitbox is bigger, but
right,
you could. So I didn't know if that was these are just elites as like a little funsy kind of thing, or if they're actually different. And I think I've seen some cards that there are some differences, so that to me is exciting potentially, because if you add in grunts or brutes, how do they look? And just, that I think that could make the game more interesting.
Seems like units without shields will die very fast in this game, because units with shields die very fast in this game.
Yeah, yes. I mean, and speaking of that, so going back to the demo and just kind of some of the mechanics, for those that don't understand Dead Zone or haven't already seen like a playthrough video, I mean, Mantic has a really great playthrough video on their YouTube that I would recommend watching. But the cube system and some of the rules for the game is like, so if you have a movement set of 2, the whole board is on is it a 3x3?
It's 3x3
square?
3 inches.
Yeah, yes. Or cube. So you have a height 3x3 and then perimeter 3x3 cube that you're moving into, and it costs 1 of your movement to move your model from the cube you're in to the next cube, but you place your model anywhere entirely within that cube. And what that means is, so if there's like a fence or a part of a wall in that cube, you can place your model anywhere in that cube, so you could put them behind the wall. Or so it's kind of it feels kind of board gamey with the movement, but it relieves itself of that by having a freedom of movement within the space you're going into.
And then cover is just, can I see all of you or can I not see all of you?
Is any part of me obscured?
Yeah.
And cover, from what I demoed, was it doesn't give you any kind of bonus. It just doesn't give your opponent a bonus.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no I get a better save or anything like that. Or even reduced dice of the opponent. It's just that your opponent doesn't gain dice.
Do you not gain a dice when you get them out of cover?
Well, the attacker does.
The shooter does.
But if you put yourself in a defensive position, all you're doing is preventing the attacker from gaining.
Gotcha.
And that just kind of feels a little backwards.
It feels weird.
With most I should be reducing a dice of yours, not you gaining.
I'm in cover, I should be rolling more defense, but instead it's like you're just rolling less attack.
And they said stuff like they didn't want to take things away from players, which I guess is something. But
and we're all grown men. Screw that. Like, give me some.
My guy was very much like, we're not going to mess with command dice. We're not going to mess with keywords. I'm like, we're at Adepticon. But,
yeah.
I thankfully had 2 of my Mantic buddies, or not Mantic buddies, 2 of my Kings of War buddies who are fairly active in the Kings of War community take me over to demo, and I knew one of the demoers, John Jack, and we were all kind of like, hey, look, you know who we are. We all are. We're here playing in a GT. give us some more of the rules.
Show us the real game.
Yeah, right. Show us the
Yeah.
real game. Like, what does the sniper do? What does the extra shots do from here? What does this gravity hammer do? Because like they were doing demos for people that didn't even have a weapon in the middle of the board.
Yeah.
Well, it was basically just move and shoot. That was the whole demo. And I'm like, that's very basic.
That's not going to sell it to people. Yeah.
And that's not selling.
Not at Adepticon.
Yeah, I think Adepticon is a place that you'd want to get a little bit
convention.
A little bit.
The demo
gritty.
next to mine, they were using the command dice and keywords. So after mine was done, I just walked over and watched that one, and I felt like I got more out of that.
I like the command dice.
Yeah.
Like just something to spice up. I could see it getting very formulaic without that randomness in there of I get these extra actions.
And I think they're kind of counting on between the command dice and then what weapon comes up in the middle. And I think they've got 5 or 6 different game modes. So it'd be like Slayer, Oddball, Capture the Flag, stuff like that. And I think they're counting on that. And then there's different, placements for spawns. I think they're counting on that kind of to spice up and then the loadouts for the replayability.
Just got the Coca-Cola sponsorship just now.
Yeah. Initially, at least. Yeah. So
I was reading or I watched something about that. So like rocket launcher's a pickup, but you'll be able to later just bring a guy with a rocket launcher, and that'll be when they release points, that sort of thing.
And see, I feel like we're already jumping to the end here in a way, right? We want that game already.
Yes.
Don't give me the game we have right now. We want that game. Start there. That's
I don't think it's a lie that a lot of us would have liked a Halo Wars tabletop game, right? But
you can even have the Vanish and all that stuff.
And this is what we're getting. So
yeah.
We're giving it a shot.
I think they'll get there, but I think their goal is to try to. Then I think they've said this is they're trying to get as many people in. Now they might not be getting the hardcore people in that they want to get in, but they're trying to use this popular IP to get a lot of attention and
do a ton of heavy lifting.
They said they didn't want to just blast out 5 waves right off the bat. No, I might have liked that, but
I would have loved it.
They don't want to scare people off. So I don't know what.
And it's this hesitance that so like I think like you're saying their game plan is start so basic that anybody can pick up the game, and this will take off at Gen Con. The demos they're doing, the styles of demos they're doing right now, and the style of game that it is going to take off at Gen Con, but they should have started at Gen Con, not at Adepticon. And then the other thing is they're expecting this IP that a lot of people have a hate-love relationship with, and they're kind of pushing the hate part because the 343 stuff is not the best. We want an early Halo. We don't want late Halo. So that they have an IP that they're expecting to do a ton of the heavy lifting. And what my fear for it all is, we're going to get them doing this version of the game we have right now. And if they don't make enough money, we're never going to get the version we want. That's the risk. That's the big risk here. Because the thing is, they're wanting to cultivate a new player base and create new players, which I commend them for. Because the easy way out is just to make the game we all want and they sell it immediately. And then they never make new players. But you're banking on this IP to create new gamers. And that is a dangerous thing to do. Because some people just don't do games.
That's true.
And
I will say, my good friend, he does not do any tabletop wargaming. He's bought the Spartan box already. Okay. So it's worked on one person already. And
I'm not saying it isn't. I mean, the fact that they've already got the pre-orders that they've gotten is amazing. Yeah. And the other thing about it is, too, though, the other risk, it's kind of a second-hand risk, is let's say you do get this first game, this iteration of the game is doing successful, and you try to push it to the next one. Because of the player base you've just grown, the next version doesn't work. You see what I mean? It's well, I don't want that version of the game. That's way too complicated. This version of the game is so much like a board game that people are basically buying the Halo board game. That's what they're doing. And that works. Board games are hot. They're chic. They sell. Being a nerd is cool now. Being too much of a nerd now, though, is not. You see what I mean? I mean, it's a dangerous... I'm being just for real.
Yeah. You can play D&D and you can cosplay, but don't LARP.
Yeah,
that's what you're telling me,
right? No, I mean that's super fair. That's a great analogy. And so while us four, I don't want to speak for all of you, but I mean I think the only one I haven't heard specifically say he wants this is Matt. But while we all want Halo Wars, I want Star Wars Legion, the Halo skin.
Right. Absolutely. Yep.
I'm afraid we will never get there.
I would take it what I also want, and this is a personal problem. So we all play Star Wars Legion. So I have my
Wait, we do?
well, 3 or
Is this
4 of us.
podcast about that?
No, but I have my 3-hour war game. You know, so
That's true.
what I want is my hour to hour and a half war game where I can justify rolling down an afternoon playing
Why
a
aren't
game.
you playing
Shatterpoint?
Yeah, let me
Shatterpoint is not a
Shatterpoint.
Shatterpoint is not an hour and a half game.
Let me break that heart for you here real quick, Matt. The only reason Legion takes 3 to 4 hours is because people are slow.
Yep.
That's not the average time for a war game. I can play a game of Kings of War and bull crap, in easily 2.5 hours.
Well, I have my 2.5 to 3 hour war game. I want my.
Oh, don't you rewind on me there? Don't you rewind on me there?
I want my
You
hour.
mean you have your big model game?
Yeah, I have my big model game.
Okay.
I have my armies.
Right.
I want my skirmish game. I used to play X-Wing, and this kind of has some parallels to X-Wing in some ways.
That it's bad, yeah.
It's kind of accessible, and I think it. will get a lot of people in. But
who on this Discord has seen Naruto? You know the picture where he's standing in front of the gate and there's the big fox? I'm the big fox right now. You're letting me. I'm shaking the cage.
No.
Let me out. Let me out, Randy. Let me out. Let me out. Never back on the podcast again.
I was still hoping that there would be some vehicles in this, but like you guys were saying, with a 2x2 map,
there's no way.
It's gonna have to be a 4x4 map just to even get some ghosts on the table.
So
or
there is a Dead Zone larger game called Firefight.
Okay, I was just about to say. Yep.
Okay.
That has vehicles.
Sell this to me.
So it's more
the models even already look like Halo.
It's the same. It's the same models as Dead Zone. It's more like not like a squad. It's like a larger, I don't know what you call it, platoon kind of scale.
Yeah.
And I don't know the exact rules, but there are vehicles. So I could see if this does well enough and people start getting a bunch of minis, then they're like, hey, I want to do,
a proper game would allow for like 1 to 2 minis.
And then
vehicles.
That is either 4x3 or 6x4. They have different depending on how big you're going.
And it's also a more serious kind of game, and I don't mean that in the sense of like, oh, we're try hard, but like just a great, I think, way to point that out is the D8 system. D8s explode in Halo, and they can keep exploding. That's something we didn't talk about either. Like when you're attacking and you roll an 8, you get to roll another D8 and see if you get another hit. And if you rolled an 8 on that one, you keep going until you don't hit. Firefight has no exploding D8s. It is a much more linear. You can do the math. You can plan. There's not as much RNG involved, and I prefer that myself. Like I think it worked. I think the exploding D8 system works for Halo because it's such a small model count.
Yeah, it's
game.
Representing headshots or whatever is what my guy kind of described.
Right, but I don't want to play a war game where I have 20 dice I'm rolling and they can all explode, and then they can explode again, and then I have rerolls, and then you see what I mean.
Should we talk through an attack sequence in the game just to kind of
so let me ask you this, because I was like, how does a sniper rifle work versus a pistol? I understand that there is a target number on the weapon profile that you're trying to roll on one of these D8s.
Yep.
So how do they this is a machine gun, this is a highly accurate weapon, what do they do for that?
Let's see, on my board I had a guy with I believe it was like a DMR. And then the other guy had some variety of SMG, close range weapon. And the DMR guy hit on 3-up at ranged, but his melee stat was worse. And then the other guy was he hits on 3-up in melee, but he was pretty bad at shooting. He hits on 5-up or something. And he was slower. It was kind of interesting. But so you look down the weapon stats. I don't know if you have any pictures of the cards, but
I don't know if I got any.
Okay. There'll be a range number, which I found the DMR was range 6 or whatever, which on this board is pretty much I've moved once, I can shoot anywhere, kind of thing.
And I guess there was a tape measure for range as well.
Before?
Am I crazy?
There was no tape, because
that's cubes. It's based on the cube.
Yeah, it's based on the cube. So it's range 6. So it's 6 cubes diagonally or straight is what my guy explained. Correct me. We all got different demo experiences here, but so when you're attacking, your base attack number of dice is just 3. You're rolling 3 dice. But if you're elevated, you get 1 more. And if also you can see the entirety of your opponent's miniature, you get 2 more on top of that. So you could roll like 6 versus him, who's rolling 3 on defense, which is like the standard roll. I don't know if the only modifiers I saw for defense was the command dice. When people rolled them, there's a way to get like extra dice.
And then like the sniper, a good example of like a keyword they got is the sniper doesn't take the penalty for shooting into combat.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So something like that.
Is that like the optics keyword or something?
Yeah,
or
I think it was the optics keyword. And
there's lethal, which we'll get to when damage gets done and stuff.
Yeah, and there's AP, which So
really
like
important.
A damage track would be like, so let's say I got 5 successes, so that's 5 hits, and they do a damage apiece, I believe. But then you have shields.
First you go through the defender's dice. So like,
they
like you said, you roll like 5 successes, which is like an amazing result, and the other guy gets like 2 successes.
Right.
They cancel 2 of them out, so you have 3 left.
Yep. So and then you have like 2 shields and a Spartan. So you have 3 left. So it's a difference of successes between the defense guy and the attacker. So yeah, three go through. Okay, well there's 2 shields. You eat up a success each with a shield, and then you had an armor stat, which the armor stat eats up any other successes you have. And so really they're wanting you to shoot the same guy a lot.
Yes, which feels like Halo.
Right,
PvP,
which does feel like Halo. And so like, all right, cool, I did 5 hits, and now all I did was knock down your shields. That's really all I did on my activation. Well, my next guy, since your shields haven't recovered, well, he gets those same, 3 hits go through. Well, your armor 2 only takes out 2 of my 3 hits, and so you take a wound. And you have health hit points 4. Now you have 3 wounds left.
And there was armor piercing on some of the weapons, which would mean that they punch through like 1 extra armor or whatever.
Right. There was the sniper was AP2.
Yeah, and their shield disruption was kind of the same.
Did you guys get to shoot an alien weapon? I assume that's going to punch their shields.
No,
the closest close combat guy had a knife that disrupted enemy shields, so it like would knock a shield off just for like if you rolled any hits before canceling anything. So like they would lose a shield.
And then
I bet plasma weapons will do something like that.
And it had armor piercing as well. And the way he described it, Ryan described it to me, was like he was stabbing, somewhere that didn't have armor because you're up close or whatever.
Which totally happens in Halo.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So that all's cool. The weapons are cool. The grid thing is definitely different than what I've done before, but I can get along with that.
I figure no movement or range tools helps the new audience they're trying to get in. Yeah,
and it helps. It does help the game go faster too. I can see where we were getting. They were obviously wanting us to get through at a good clip.
Yeah, they were blazing people through demos.
But we were, if we were playing 2v2, they said it'd be something like go to 4 kills, and I was already been killed twice in 2 turns, so it can go quick.
Well, and then you'll have stuff like Oddball, which will be like a what is that, kind of like a capture the flag kind of in a way.
It's like mobile though, so it's like the ball, and then from what I read, it's if you have the ball at the end of your opponent's turn, then you get a point, and then you're playing to however many points with the Oddball.
Yeah, so, I mean, like and not to get too meta or structured on us. I mean, like I did write down some of the, because I think it's easy to point out negative stuff. I did try to like write down some of the things that I was immediately attracted to about the game. And for me, I think one of the big ones is, and this is because of Legions kind of showed it to me, I love that there's unit cards. Any game that now does unit cards to me is a big bonus. I want to like we're looking at the Spartan Mark 7 there. Like I have everything I need on 1 card. I love stuff like that. The models are also, even for pre-assembled, the models are fantastic. I'm a big fan of the IP and Mantic. Like that's a double win because Halo's cool. I'm a big supporter of Mantic as a company. And then
is this their first big IP?
So Mantic, actually, I would say it's their biggest one. Okay. Mantic has also gotten a hold of Worms, Invincible, the Amazon comic book graphic novel thing, The Walking Dead, and then they've had Hellboy for a long time. So they've taken care of other IPs fairly well. And this is without a doubt, though, their biggest one they've had. They're probably their next biggest one was either Hellboy or Walking Dead. Because I know there's a lot of people that are fans of Invincible, but I doubt Invincible is anywhere near as big as Walking Dead. But yeah, and those have been mostly board games, which
Well,
also
you got to
kind
dunk
of
on Worms like that, you know.
Worms is an awesome game, but it's definitely the smallest of those.
What year is it?
I love me some Worms. It doesn't matter what year it is.
It's fun, man. It's fun. But no, and I think the other thing too is, I have to keep reminding myself that like there's more to come. Like these demos work. I think we all three can agree the demos weren't the best.
No, this felt very like, oh, we're in the middle of a big convention and we're like, we didn't completely prep ourselves for what we're having to do.
Through.
Yeah. So
yeah. And so I feel like the demo, I think there's a lot more coming that I'm excited for. And at the very least, the games will be quick and it'll be a fun IP. So I think that's where I'm at with it.
I guess if you want to, as serious as you want to take it, I think there's a little bit to dig into with all the different, like if I get the big edition, I have 16 Spartans. I'm assuming they all have different loadouts.
Some of the miniatures definitely had needlers and stuff.
Well, I think it's going to be, I think there's like 4 or 5 different poses that you're going to get. And I believe it's going to be the same 8 and 8 though.
Yeah.
It's not going to be 16 different models because it's going to be team versus team, and I think there's 4 elite sculpts as well, or maybe there's 3.
There's 4, yeah.
Is there 4? Yeah.
There's 20 miniatures in the box, so
right. But are they different Spartans?
There was a carbine, a needler, one guy had a sword. I don't think the other guy had like a regular plasma rifle.
Or something.
So
okay.
I think that there's that, so I'm interested to see how they play.
I mean the model line kind of is one of the cons for me though, because while they look cool, like it's not the model quality or the model aesthetic, that's a pro, but man, it's right now I need a lot more than Spartans and 4 elites.
I would have been real excited if they had shown, hey, you can do a Jackal Grunt team, and
that'd been awesome.
8 of those guys
ODSTs
out.
Yeah. And it could be, they said there's a lot more coming. They're like, they told me at least personally, they're like, we can't confirm, but we can definitely confirm, that there's a lot more coming.
If they're willing to say the Banished TM in their publication,
they did mention Brutes in a video as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like we know they're coming then, but it's just right now the model line really reflects that board game-esque feel more, because other than me painting them differently, they're all just Spartans. I mean, it's like. This is coming from a guy
different
that's
models
painted
of
a million
armor,
Space Marines, but like I didn't enjoy that either. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like
if you could mix and match and build your own Spartans,
like
maybe that would be a
a
little different to hold out on.
The pre-assembled really hurts that. Yeah, I mean, and even if you look at the James Wapple minis they had up there, he reposed several of those.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I can see that happening a lot. People kit bashing and 3D printing stuff for this.
Battletech has, whenever Catalyst redid Battletech, that's all pre-assembled minis too, and it's not hard to just pop those things apart and reglue them or whatever. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it being all Spartans is kind of But again, I have to keep reminding myself that there's more coming, and the fact that they've already said stuff like the Banished tells me we're gonna get grunts and jackals and brutes and more elites, and you know what I mean. Like that's gonna have to happen.
Yeah. I'm glad they did show some elites too.
Yeah,
because I think after the initial teaser, they're like, because the elites they had there weren't even painted.
Yes,
it feels
so that
like
tells
they're
me
like,
that maybe initially they weren't going to show them this soon. It's like we gotta put the promise out there.
There was some initial response that was like, "Is it just going to be a game with Spartans?"
There's a lot of feedback given out in every post I've seen since pre-AdeptCon about people wanting this to be a larger game and also wanting more than just Spartans, because that's boring.
Because, I mean, the way it is right now, it's like, looking at the game board, I don't know if you have a different picture that shows the terrain, like, other than the Spartans and the fact that some of the terrain says UNSC on it, the terrain itself is not like
Alien.
The big miss for me was like, it's not super Halo. They didn't pick some of the kind of like weird iconic
you look like you're
pieces.
fighting in a hangar.
Right. it's like, I don't know, none of that. Like, if you're glancing at it from a distance, I don't think people are like, oh, they're playing a Halo game over there. It's just like, oh,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just,
fair. That's fair.
They put UNSC on that roof, so you would know
yeah,
it's
that's
a Halo
about it.
game.
It's like, I mean, look at some of the maps and make the things look more like some of the kind of iconic Halo architecture buildings with those, flying buttresses and stuff. Also, maybe some purple Covenant crates would not have been a terrible idea,
man,
even though I know they're going for training idea. But
I'm curious to know how much of this is impacted by the cube system, because it's
yes.
It's based on height as well, right? It's not just a 3x3 square.
The stuff that's traversable has to be very boxy. But I guess, I don't know. On some of the smaller cover pieces, you could have done.
Yeah,
like those little Covenant explodey crates that are on the games,
or the big
the weapon
purple
cache,
ones that are like
ones.
their drop pods that have the multiple weapons in them and stuff.
And I'm sure it's iconic. Also very cost effective.
Yes,
let's do a crate warehouse because we can send boxes for very cheap.
I will say though that quality of that cardboard is insane.
It's very nice.
I thought it was printed on MDF.
It
is super good quality cardboard, which I know that sounds goofy to say, but
no, but you're absolutely right.
I would not
it's very the terrain quality is very nice. It just didn't scream Halo to me. It was my only kind of miss.
I'm with you there for sure. And I wish they would have shown the other side.
I don't know the answer to this, so maybe this is dumb to even bring it up. What do the Dead Zone tables look like now that, because Dead Zone's been around for a while?
So Dead Zone tables are very square as well, and the terrain they sell are like panels that it's almost like Fortnite, where you're building a bunch of panels and stuff everywhere, and that's the terrain. So it is very grid-like as well.
So you're saying it's going to handle Halo 1 maps really well, but not, not Halo 5.
They market it that you can just slide the grid system onto any map, but it does not work like that. Okay. It does not. I've never seen
I'm just thinking about potential, like, if I was going to make a table, what it would look like.
Yeah, what would it be? You'd have to be having a tape measure out the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure everything's 3 inches or smaller.
There are some Dead Zone mats, neoprene mats that exist, but I didn't know if
the grid?
Yeah, they have the grid on them.
I would 100% be all over. That would be what I would do. I would start there. So that way, while I'm building my terrain and sketching it all out, I have a grid map in front of me.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's, because I don't think Firefight doesn't use the grid, correct?
No, it's more like Legion.
So
interesting.
Yeah,
but it's the same models for both games.
Well, it's like Kill Team versus 40K, right? That's the concept. I mean, and that's Mantic's kind of been their shtick for a long time. So they're like X Games Workshop. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I'm also kind of like I don't know how you guys feel about this, but the Dead Skin like reskin irritates me a little bit. Josh, if you're saying anything, I don't think we can hear you.
There we go.
Okay.
Just the button was not working with me there. But yeah, the Dead Zone reskin. Yeah, because you said Dead Skin.
Oh, sorry, Dead Zone. The Dead Zone reskin kind of feels lame to me, just to put it bluntly.
It would irritate me if I was a Dead Zone player and I saw this game.
A big, like, recognizable IP
I'd be like, oh, shoot, they're coming from a game. Because if this thing takes off, where are they going to put their resources?
It's not going to be around.
Probably not in the Dead Zone. Probably
right,
into their...
they had to, like, put in work to get this IP, so you're going to want to try to keep
Well, then what'll happen is anytime Halo gets updated, Dead Zone gets updated. That's what would happen.
Right.
Like, cool rules for Halo just launched. Okay, the new core rules for Dead Zone just launched. And eventually, if things take off, it'll be like that for Firefight, too. Because Firefight is the next step for this Halo IP.
It's so confusing that it's called Firefight. All I can think
of is it's like, we're just going to have to take that name back.
Right?
They'd have to steal it from their own game. They'd be like, Halo Firefight.
We're changing this other game to something else. Yeah, no, I mean, I have a feeling that the best, if they can get the licensing for it, I mean, obviously they can, but if 343 approves it, Halo Wars is the best name to give the Legion-sized Halo.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And that'd be pretty sweet.
But I will agree that seems like one of the, I don't know if miss, because it's just coming out, but outside of Spartans, when you think of PvP, it's the iconic maps and not having a hard time making that terrain because, like, I mean, if I'm going to play PvP match, I want to play on Blood Gulch.
Right. No,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Whenever this got announced, I was like, oh, I'm going to build a Zanzibar map. And then I saw it was on a grid, and I was like, maybe I'm not going to build a Zanzibar map.
Heck, man, if you're trying to build any of the old maps, like, I was trying to do it with Josh before we even saw anything. Like, I had pictures from Gamma that I was like, okay, that is a 25 millimeter circle. How many can fit in a square? The squares are this size before I knew it was anything like Dead Zone. Otherwise, I would have just texted my Dead Zone guys.
Yeah.
They're like, what size are your cubes?
What's the rule? Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I was trying to make a map, and I was looking at it, and I was like, this map is so small that I could fit like one structure that would be in a normal Halo map.
Yeah, if you wanted to use a Blood Gulch building, it would be the entire
the whole map.
Yeah, that's half of that 2x2.
That's what I was thinking. You could do like half of it be like a single Blood Gulch bunker.
Yeah.
And then...
But you have to make it where the top can come off and you're fighting inside. Yeah, then what do you fight
rocks?
Well, you know what you do? What you do is you use that Star Wars Legion indoor base as your as your entrance to it. Yeah, I mean, because it looks almost like it.
It does.
And you just put a little box on top of it for the elevation. There you go.
Now the miniatures are coming out with like 32 millimeter bases. Some of the ones in the demos were on the wrong size bases.
Yeah, they're on 25s.
But that was just like their 3D print test models, I guess.
I guess.
But the official ones are coming out with like 32 millimeter bases. So.
Okay. Yeah, the ones that James Wapple had is supposed to be and those are pretty big bases.
Which I think the guy we can see closest to us in the picture or in the pause on the video, I think that one's correct.
Yeah, that looks to be correct.
Yeah, because the other guys were hanging off of them.
But since it doesn't really matter, kind of,
it matters depending on
cover.
Exactly what the wording on cover determination is.
Yeah, I think it's like true sight from mini to mini, but then it's like it's like a yes no. It's like, can you see?
One guy was describing it to me as a cylinder, and the other one was describing it to me as like a true sight thing. So I'm like, okay,
if it's true sight, then I can make some really cool mini bases that are bigger. And since the model won't change, who cares? You're just trying to see my model. But then that also poorly encourages people to resculpt or reposition their minis to be like, well, the guy that's pointing his hand out needs to have his hand not pointing out.
Oh yeah,
right.
So which
right.
Yeah.
I mean, to bring up a Star Wars Legion analogy, back in the old day when it was true line of sight, your snipers were always facing the wrong way because their sniper rifle barrel would get shot off.
Yeah, he did a little.
So that looks like a 32, and now obviously he's taking some artistic freedoms because he's hanging off the base a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's also a full resculpt because that guy's rifle is normally pointed down.
Yeah, I think he broke the arm a little bit. And
DMRs and
pointed
stuff.
Him up.
And that's an assault rifle, and I see the DMRs, the SMGs.
I know in the preview pictures that were out there were Covenant weapons, but I can't.
Because the DMR replaced that, didn't it?
Which is a shame because
they have both now.
Oh, maybe those guys back there. Does one of them have a needler? I think that red guy, maybe.
Yeah, there is I know there is a model.
There's guys with Covenant weapons.
Yeah.
But
what'd you say? They're both battle rifle and the. DMR in the game?
They're both in the game.
Mm-hmm. And I did see the battle rifle
in the game
was
since
one of
Halo 4 together.
One of the cards on the map, so I'm assuming it would also be a weapon at some point, if not already.
Start with. Gotcha.
But
how were the melee weapons? Like, did you get a grav hammer or sword? Was it the same as shooting a gun?
I picked up the grav hammer and was able to charge, which gave me, I think, a +2 dice bonus.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of bad. Because I know this is going to sound super stupid because this is every game, but if you don't hit, you don't get any of your cool stuff. Yeah. And it feels kind of cheeky because you get tons of dice. You get tons of dice to roll, but there's so many it feels very much like early Shatterpoint where I was like, nothing dies. Because you have to roll.
That feels so much like Halo to me, though, as you charge it with a hammer and then you just whiff. And then that guy just melees you in the back of his head.
I did get to see a gravity hammer hit, and it does it disrupts the shields, so it does it knocks one of their shields off before even doing any damage, which is good. It has lethal, so once it's getting to actually damaging the Spartan, it does 1 extra damage, and it has knockback. Did either of you guys play with the knockback?
Yeah.
Where it literally knocked the enemy Spartan to the ground, and he had to spend actions to get back up.
Stand up.
And the sword had a range of 1, which I think is to kind of talk the lunge. You know, the lunge.
The lunge.
Okay.
Yeah. So it had a range of 1, so you could hit from 1 square away. It had 2 shield disruption.
Ooh,
so if it hit, your
okay.
shields are just down, which and I think it might
Makes
have had
sense.
lethal 1. So probably it
That all
didn't have the
feels
knockback,
accurate.
but it was very deadly. I pretty much got one shot by the sword.
They probably had AP then,
Yeah.
rather over lethal.
Oh yeah,
So it was very very
Yeah,
deadly.
it's just it's
very
a,
accurate to the sword in
Yeah.
game.
It's a
Where if
big
you get
dice
hit, you're dead.
pool.
If you don't get hit,
Yeah.
you're not.
big swings, big highs,
Mhm.
big lows kind of feeling game.
Did you guys throw any grenades?
No.
No. I did see somewhere someone had a section of a card on a banish, and the banish had a grenade on there, and then they said grenades were upgrades. So there were some.
I'm curious if that's
'Cause
going
that's
to be
very
an
important to
AoE
Halo.
Or, yeah.
How do you get an upgrade when there's no points? Which I mean, that's kind of the
points are coming.
Does
Yeah.
it cost me a Spartan?
If it's like the game, they'll be on the map, and you'll have 2 tokens to represent the 2 grenades you're
you
allowed
still
to hold,
started
and
with
then just like
frags.
Yeah.
that's true.
Sure.
You did. You started
You
with 2 frags.
Yeah.
Depending on which game, maybe there's a difference in Halo 5 and Infinite, but
Maybe. Well, that's true. I haven't played any of the new games that they're doing this all based on.
Well, I hope they can support it quickly, because I feel like if they don't, people will
Lose interest.
Move
either
on,
lose
yeah.
interest or start homebrewing stuff to
Mhm.
make it more interesting,
Well,
and then lose interest.
And that's a big Mantic thing too, is they give a lot of community power. Not in like a way that like they let them dictate the game or the rules or anything. But I mean Mantic, if you look at Kings of War, the entire tournament circuit is based off around the community. Mantic's not involved in any of that. And so community definitely plays a big part of it. I mean that's and I mean at the end of the day, like it is a cool game because of the IP and stuff. And I could 100% see people, and I'm sure people are. I think there's already pre-orders going out, but for like if I go to Edmund Unplugged, my local store, and want to play this game, I can get a ton of people to buy into it because it's Halo. I mean, it's going to have the same effect that Legion does, where they're going to have people come in and see, oh, it's Halo, I'm going to buy it because it says Halo. It's just like Legion, where if I see a Stormtrooper, I'm going to buy this box because it said Stormtrooper. That's a big upside, and that's the power of having an IP like this. So I really hope Mantic. It's great for them, and I love that they're getting something like this, and I hope they keep running with it, because it's a game that I think stores are going to want to carry if it doesn't suck. If it sucks and people can't retain, people buying stuff is one thing. Retaining those people that bought stuff is the other.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it sounds like there's some interesting stuff, but at least for us, I would say we need to see what's the game going to end up being like a year after it's out.
Yeah, I'd agree with that wholeheartedly. It's just incredibly simplistic right now.
And part of selling that too, is that there's not a lot other than the core boxes to sell right now.
True.
Right.
It's very board gamey where it's like, this is it.
So,
I don't know how they're going to sell future Spartans. I mean, like, how crazy can you get with their starting weapons beyond like assault rifle, DMR?
Well, and this is why
you don't want to go crazy.
Are important. You know what I mean? It's like, give me a point structure to balance these lists around. Even if it's still going to be a 4v4 game, I want a point structure because it's important. Like, there's and I don't want to say that like I used to be super against respawn mechanics and lack of points. I'm not that way anymore because I've played enough good games with respawn mechanics and no point setups.
Right.
But they have very strict list building rules for those games, and they have big drawbacks for you respawning. I've not seen either of those in this game. Where
you don't want this game to turn into the best team is 4 DMRs because I'm able to shoot you immediately and melee is like that, whatever,
Yeah, and I don't want spawn camping either. Like I don't. It's there's some.
Quit screen looking.
But speaking of Halo mechanics, technically you can teabag people in this game because there is a mechanic for crouching.
Yes, I was about to say it.
That's amazing.
It's all fun and games
awesome. 10 of 10.
till Drew.
I want to spend
Drew kills me. Goes to where my body was, takes the crouch action.
Does the crouch action.
To crouch.
I crouched.
You spent your command dice to teabag.
I crouched twice
body.
in my turn.
I'm about this. I'm into it now. All right, I'm pre-ordering my copy. Oh man.
Well, this is awesome, guys. I think I'm still intrigued. I'm probably gonna get a box, but before we wrap up, each of you, like, what's the thing you like the most, and what's the thing you're hoping for that they're gonna put out? Drew, you looking like you want to go
for
first.
last. I got a lot to say for my one thing.
All right,
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Matt.
I would like hunters. Give me like a hunter
that'd be
pair.
Cool.
That's a good one. That'd be a cool like.
That would be
that's the whole
vehicle,
team. Is just
be my whole.
Yeah. 2 hunters versus 8 Spartans.
Or if it's 4v4, just give me 2 hunters, and that's my team.
Yeah.
That's still OP. Maybe 4 guys feels like a good ratio.
In the campaign, you take down hunters by yourself. I mean, it probably
Master Chief with a pistol.
You're Master Chief, and it counts as 2 Spartans in this game.
Whatever balance I need, but hunters come in pairs, so whatever I need to do.
I guess that math's right though. If Master Chief is going to count as 2 Spartans, and Master Chief equals killing a hunter. Because you do
1 hunter equals 2 Spartans.
Yeah, there you go.
Crack the code.
X
well,
these
later model Spartans are definitely not as they're not as.
So you're wanting hunters? That's pretty cool.
That'd be cool. I think it'd be fun.
That's a cool one. That's cool.
Oh man, what do I want? Hunters is a good one. You kind of stole I'd love to see if we're having Master Chief. Come on, give me the Arbiter. Let's just say that. Give me the Arbiter.
There's a lot of cool heroes they could bring in.
And you could probably
Sergeant Johnson, who should be worth 4 Spartans.
Let me put out 32 Marines.
Yeah, right. I want 32 Australian speaking Marines that just but I mean, the real thing, I would like the game to get larger with vehicles. I love Halo vehicles. I want a Warthog. If I was to narrow down to one thing I ultimately want, I want a Warthog miniature.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know about the firefight for
the
Dead Zone.
Mantis firefight. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's encouraging.
It's like they market it as like it's about Legion scale. It's bolt action scale. You have a squad of or you have a platoon of 20 guys and a tank or a jet.
I mean, the human faction looks like
they look like UNSC. And there's a faction that looks like Forerunners. They look like they're Halo all day. Randy, what's your thing you're the most excited for, audience member?
Ooh, I would love ODSTs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I don't even know if I want anything specifically mechanically. I just think they're cool.
Watch some Dead Zone gameplay. This is how deep in the rabbit hole I am at this point. I've already committed my money.
You've already bought.
I've already committed my money. I'm now committing my mental headspace to it.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah.
You've made the commitment.
Yeah, so there's some faction in Dead Zone that can just orbital drop at certain spots on the map with restrictions.
Oh, that's cool.
So it'd be super easy just to Control C, Control V.
Oh man, if they dropped in and then they created terrain when they dropped in because their pods in the game stayed there.
So sweet.
So you can make it happen. I feel like it'd be a missed opportunity if you didn't do something like ODST.
ODST was one of their most popular games.
Yeah, ODST had one of the best campaigns.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, true.
Well, and Randy, I'm kind of with you, man. It's I'm waiting for more to come out, and I can 100% see myself buying into this game. I just don't think it's right now because the box isn't going to go up. You know what I mean? If they increase the price of the box, they're going to lose potential future customers. So I already missed out on the Master Chief. I might as well wait till I see more of the game to buy the box. But if there's one thing I really want. And it's unfortunately, it sounds like from the whispers I'm hearing, it's going to be one of the later releases. You've already mentioned vehicles and hunters and ODSTs, which are awesome. But I want Flood. Give me Flood.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if they said 5 factions.
I'm already upset at how annoying that's going to be to play against.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Awesome. I want a bunch of those little.
Here's my popper.
How many little Skittles is
a point system.
Spartan? Yeah, if we got 4 Spartans in the squad, how many little?
It's 10.
Because if they can bring dead people back to life as combat forms, God help
and there's a Nurgle-esque faction with regrowth mechanics and stuff already in Firefight.
Okay, so they have they're done. Yeah. They have all the mechanics.
That's the frustrating part of this. This is just reskins of games, and that's such lazy writing. Oh my gosh! Is it cool? And am I happy I get Halo? Sure. But dang, come on!
I don't know how good the firefight rules are.
Right? I
would have loved Star Wars Legion reskinned with Halo because I think a lot of the mechanics in there are perfect. But
We're at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Breathe. Oh man.
Well, they added some stuff though, right? Like the shields on the guys and things like that.
They added some. They changed a little bit of stuff. It's not a 1-for-1. I think they really like their cube system. I think they're really into that. I think it does.
Very much.
I think it's really good for a certain audience.
I think it does have some merits. I think it is, it is definitely streamlining a lot of the process of miniature gaming. Yeah. So whether you think
such a political way to put
whether you think that's good or bad,
the terrain is going to determine basically whether it's good or not. It's like, oh, is there actually a decision for me to make here, or is it just like, whatever, 1, 2, 3?
So once you're in your square, what you can do to kind of be tactical, I think, will be important. So, and there was,
I already think I'm going to enjoy the game more on a 4x4.
Yeah. And then, I mean, really,
where like sniper rifles and stuff could actually matter.
4x4 would be pretty. I mean, that'd be, that's
big team battle.
That's 4 times the space as a 2x2. So get you them, get you 4 of those mats, I guess, together.
Scorpion tanks.
Now, I think the range would probably work still because it's the guns have.
I mean, I think 4x4 is what you need to do like a full Blood Gulch.
Pretty much.
Probably.
I don't even think it's a big team battle.
And that's something we can make.
But this game, they would call it big team battle. Probably.
That's something we can make happen, I think, without too much.
I'm curious though, because like snipers were shooting across the maps, you know what I mean? But if you do a 4x4 now, they're not even shooting.
Yeah, but did anyone actually have the sniper rifle? I don't remember seeing. Okay, one of your guys had
the model. No.
Well, yeah, no, because like there were a bunch of like there were the DMR and there was something else.
The DMR was
a weapon that
6,
was like
so that would be.
Yeah.
Is it 6 from your square?
I believe.
So that'd be.
Yeah, you don't remember if you had to count.
So that'd be 18 inches out, which would be.
Yeah. And I think a sniper's like 30.
So like the actual sniper rifle you played, like the.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, I played the rules for the sniper rifle.
But like it was the sniper rifle from the game, or it was some other DMR, like designated marksman rifle.
Oh, there was no model with the sniper rifle, so I don't know. I couldn't tell you because
you think like the sniper rifle and the beam rifle would be like infinite range.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't.
But there were weapons on there that I didn't recognize, and I was like, "Oh, this must be Halo 5 and forward stuff."
Oh, for sure.
Because I'm such a
no. I mean, he just told me it was a sniper rifle, and I didn't. I mean, I just assumed.
Yeah, they were saying like, "This is your sniper guy." This is your, but like my guy had a DMR, and it was range 6. But
well, then I bet we don't have access to that kind of stuff until the later versions.
Because that's going to be a card pickup.
Yeah,
sure.
I think it'd be a card pickup for now, and there probably will be some models. They were talking putting Spartan with a rocket launcher and having them cost more than 1 point. So
yeah, if you're bringing them.
Yeah.
No, I don't like. I hope they don't do that. I don't like loadouts that are like heavy weapons from the game.
Yeah.
Unless we're playing the Legion version.
Right, that'd be different.
Just at that point now.
But if it's multiplayer, I want it to be like garbage basic weapons and then.
Yep.
Yeah.
There were not enough pistols in this game. That's my biggest.
Yeah, but you have an elite starting with an energy sword.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Which is going to be like, and apparently the energy sword's cracked. Matt said the game's already broken. Don't
I did not.
At least we can play Infection. We have this. We have the stats to be able to play Infection.
Yeah, so. That'd be fun. Maybe some like zombies or something. A little bit.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Like,
don't you remember the game mode Infection?
Oh,
where as a human, you only have a pistol, but then when you get killed,
I think that'd be hilarious if you got a bunch of buddies and you're like, "Okay, here's your guy. Like, you're all one guy. We're playing zombies now."
And then we roll a die. Like, which one of you's the zombie? Oh, it's Matt. Switch to the sword. Let's go.
That'd be so funny.
Man, now you're making me think. Like, we used to play. It was like Michael Myers, which is like everything in the room is like explodable, but you all tried to hide from the one guy who's slow as hell. But if he hits you, you're hit like a truck. Like you just insta die.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All sorts of
times. See, this is right now. This little bit of happiness they're milking from us is what's getting people to pre-order. Not the game.
Remind everyone, it's 343. It's not Bungie.
Truth. Yeah, I think though, just to summarize it all is like for me to see this taken off at somewhere like Edmund Unplugged. Like, I need to see more rules. Like, because right now it's just a
When
it's
Matt
just a
gets it
Halo
in, we'll
board
all
game.
play
Yeah,
with
no,
his kit.
I'll
and
bring
then-
it. We can all play, and then Drew can
This is the
paint all
group.
my minis for me.
Oh, I am excited to paint the minis. I want to
I
sell
do.
shades
I
of
was actually. I
Spartans
was like, I should
and
get
paint
some.
them the colors I used to do in multiplayer.
I should prime them all white. I should get some Turbo Dork, and I should just
There you go.
Ooh,
Slap shopping,
yeah.
bro.
go to town.
Yeah.
So
Slap shop.
yeah, no, it'll be good. I'm excited.
Slap
obviously I've put my money where my mouth is. I'm committed to this point. At least
Oh, am I gonna have
I know,
to paint
man.
my
And you
old
didn't
logo on
even
all of
let
them?
me demo Judgment for you. Gosh.
I mean I bought this while I was still as a
He's bought in.
So yeah,
That's fair.
You guys.
I'm in.
Right. Now we're gonna start the next podcast, which is just our Adepticon experience, right? We're gonna
Yeah, you want to just
cut
talk about
this
our
one.
general Adepticon
Yeah.
experience now and go until 1 a.m.
So that was really awesome. I'm glad you guys share that with me. I'm probably going in on a box still, even though I missed out on Master Chief. Thanks, Matt.
Mhm.
But at least I can buy the paint kit. Buy them in the paint kit,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And you have a paint kit.
Okay,
$50
cool.
ruse. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, hey, if you stuck with us this far, thanks for watching. I'll put links to these guys' stuff on the internet. Drew did a good video of his painting victories at Adepticon. You guys should check out.
Mhm.
Yeah, my victory lap of how I skip over how bad I did at all my games, but I just talk about the paint awards. Yeah, that
Oh,
one.
I mean, you were there for playing. You were there for paint.
Yeah,
You were there for
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about how I didn't have a positive record the whole weekend in any game I played. Yeah.
There you go. Well, now we're talking.
Well, cool. Well, we will see you whenever there's something else relevant to discuss about Halo Flashpoint, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're
Sounds
kind
good.
of, I think we are
So see you in September.
in a holding pattern here. So,
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
for sure.
So,
Wait, what?
until we get new.
Oh,
Well,
for Halo,
Yeah.
not X and 1. I was like, why are y'all waiting so
Yeah,
long?
yeah. Their whole podcast is shutting down until Halo continues.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Line of
All right.
Here's
sand.
Mitchum.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.